On February 2020, Turkish President Edrogan, who was on his fourth visit to Pakistan, was addressing the Pakistani National Assembly. In his speech, he affirmed Kashmir is as important to Turkey as it is to Pakistan. This statement triggered the nationalistic fervor in the Pakistani parliamentarians, who were not expecting the Turkish ally to be this crystal clear. Soon, the statement went viral and made rounds in almost every prominent media houses in India. Indian-Turkish relation was seeing a new low. But after listening to all this, we all must be wondering why the Turkish government hates the Indian policymakers. Or if diplomatically speaking, then why the Turkish interests do not align with that of the Indian interests. Let's analyze in this video. The two nations have been sharing its coldest relations under the leadership of President Edrogan. But the Indian-Turkish relations had never been so warm in the past as well. It is mainly due to two reasons. The first reason being the different stances of the two nations during the Cold War, where Turkey's NATO membership and commitment to the Baghdad Pact made it a staunch US ally, which was at sharp contrast from India's non-alignment policies and India's slightly favorable attitude towards Soviet Union. This made it difficult for the countries to be diplomatic partners during the Cold War era. Of a bad historical relation between India and Turkey is Turkish pro-Pakistani stance on the Kashmiri issue. There were several instances when the progressing Indian-Turkish relations came to an halt due to Turkish stance on the Kashmiri issue. Prime Minister Turgut Özal, a pro-West liberal leader who sought for warm Turkish-Indian relations, visited New Delhi in 1986 to meet his Indian counterpart Rajiv Gandhi. But all efforts went into vain when Turkey condemned India of using force in Kashmir during the Organization of Islamic Cooperation meet on August 1991 in Ankara. Despite sharing a bad history, the relations between India and Turkey grew drastically under the leadership of Bülent Ecevit. He visited New Delhi in the 2000s. This trip was considered to be a game-changing one for both the nations. Weeks prior to his trip to New Delhi, the Prime Minister revised the Turkish stance on Kashmir and changed it from a pro-Pakistani one to a pro-Indian one, where he considered Kashmir to be an internal issue between the two states and it did not require any Turkish interference. During his trip to New Delhi, he was also invited by the Pakistani officials to visit Islamabad as well. But the Turkish Prime Minister did not visit Islamabad as he considered the Pakistani government to be illegitimate, as it was being governed by Pervez Musharraf, who had gained power through a military coup and not by democratic ways. So, reasonably by all his actions, we can consider him to be the one and the only pro-Indian Turkish leader of his time. The relations between India and Turkey has touched its lowest lows under the leadership of Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Edrogan came into power in 2014. He believed in building a modern Turkey with Islamic rules. His vision was to make Turkey the new leader of the Arab world, which the Turkish people were already during the peak of the Ottoman Empire. This vision had a lot to do with the Indian-Turkish relations. To consolidate its position as the leader in the Arab world, Turkey often seeks support from the Pakistani government. The Pakistani influence on Turkey makes it a threat to the Indian diplomats. Turkish president had long accused India on the issue of dealing with minorities. Turkey has criticized India's move of abolishing Article 370 and had condemned its approach on Kashmir at several stages. Edrogan's Turkey was one of the few countries which blocked India's move to enter into the nuclear suppliers group. This summarizes the Edrogan's approach towards India. But how should India deal with all this? By cooperating with the Turkish enemies like Greece, Armenia, or Cyprus, or by raising the issue of Turkish Cyprus at UN and other international stages. What do you think about it? Do comment your views on this.